URC round number 5, folks. Munster hosting Connacht, and it wasn't the prettiest game I have ever seen, but it is Munster with their win 17 points to 15, who go 5 from 5 to their opening stanza of this URC campaign under Clayton McMillan, which is a pretty bloody good start, even if not always pretty, still getting the results. And for Connacht, it's another loss, but it's also another losing bonus point. Goodness me. Nobody can kick a goal. There's only one kick nailed out of 6 attempts, if you put both sides together in this one. So, as I said, there were some nice tries. A little bit of controversy as well. I don't really like Andrea Piardi. I don't usually care about referees very much, but sometimes that guy makes... I don't know. I don't want to talk about referees too much because it's not my thing. But yeah, Andrea Piardi. He's a referee for international rugby. They fast track him for whatever reason, and Munster fans have had a fair bit of experience with him, and now Connacht fans too. Let's go through the key events and stats of the game, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how this one went. No scores in the first 10 minutes. There was a bit of TMO. There was Munster losing lineouts. Connacht with like a wild pass in their own 22, which fortunately for them didn't get punished. But you could feel Munster was squeezing Connacht in the opening period of that first half. They had a lot of territory, and eventually that pressure paid off with one of the nicer tries of the match using full width of the pitch. It was nice to see Munster get that flow going. Nankerville, lots of touches. He's got a part in finishing off their first try. It's him to Dan Kelly, and then Jack O'Donoghue runs in his first of 2. Very different tries that he scored, but not converted. 5 points to 0. I think Munster were pretty good value for their lead. The number 11 jersey for both sides seems to have a bit of a curse on it this week because both of the guys went off. Takia Abrams for Munster went off on like 14 minutes. And Finn Tracy had gone off even earlier than that, like 9-10 minutes. So yeah, both sides having to rejig in certain positions, particularly on the wings. Connacht did reply with their first real chance down Munster's end, which was pleasing for them because, as I said, they'd had to do a lot of defending and a lot of time camped in their own half to start the match. Munster's defence had looked solid until, man, Josh Ioane with the nice chicken wing offload to Brian Ralston. Not converted again, but 5 points apiece. That was pretty sweet. And Ioane had a final pass in a few tries in this one for both sides, to be fair. There was a bit of handbags on 24 minutes, and it's ridiculous when the handbags, the pushing and shoving, get started by the two number 9s. The big lads shouldn't get involved. They should just let them go at it and have a wee giggle. But yeah, it was Coughlin not giving the ball over after Munster had conceded a penalty. Murphy took exception to that for Connacht. There was a bit of pushing and shoving. Everybody got involved. Honestly, they should have just let them. They should have just let them at it. But yeah, Connacht had the net say because Ioane set up Ralston with another try. This one, credit to Ioane because he knew a big hit was about to come on him, but he still popped the ball over the top, like delayed the pass as long as he could, popped over the top. Ralston goes over and like Ioane cops the hit. Also, I love Bernard Jackman on commentary, old Birch. I've actually spoken to him on this channel in the past. He's a really cool guy, but he can't pronounce the name Ioane. It's more like if you saw Arnold Schwarzenegger and you wanted to say, Yo, Arnie! Yo, Arnie! That's not exactly right, but that's closer than saying like I-O-Ni. Yeah, it's just Ioane. The other commentators were getting it right, but I still love Birch. Birch is a good commentator. But yeah, Ioane had set up 2 tries, both to Ralston. So Connacht go in the lead. Again, not a converted try. Jeez, you guys just sign a goal kicker somewhere. Connacht, 10 points to 5, and that was really built up from a Munster penalty conceded. So yeah, Connacht punishing them. Good stuff from them. Then Ioane sets up another try, but it's a Munster try. His wide ball with 3 Connacht guys outside him, quite flat into the line. Kilgallen is there on the right wing for Munster. He just picks it off. It's a beautiful read from him, and the intercept sees Munster go back in front. This is the only converted try of the bunch, and it's more or less out in front. 12 points to 10. So that's like Ioane might have set up 2, but he set up a third one, which he won't be too happy with because that was a good read from Kilgallen. What can I say? And then Connacht have the final say of the first half, and this is the one that Piardi awards because the TMO saw it on the ground. like, I saw that footage and thought that's the kind of one where the TMO goes, like, I don't really have enough. I'm pretty sure he called it no try, like held up on the field. And unless the TMO has enough footage to be like, yep, that's definitively a try, they just go with the on-field decision. But the TMO's like, I can see it on the ground. And Piardi's like, well, if you can see it on the ground, then I saw it over the line, so it must be a try. It's just an unusual way to come to a conclusion. Piardi had heaps of things going on this one, like a few obstruction calls and guys at the breakdown. But yeah, Piardi is an interesting fella. But he gives that one a try, and it's another misconversion from Connacht, but they go into the sheds with a 15-12 lead. They don't score in the second half, which is, makes it harder to win rugby games, but they didn't have any bloody ball or territory in the second half. First half stats, like Connacht's had 55% possession and the territory's pretty much 50-50. So Connacht have had the better of the second half of the first half, if that makes sense. The second 20, from 20 to 40 minutes. Connacht have had, because they were under the pump early. They've come back. The run meters are still with Munster, 236 to 127. The defenders beaten are still Munster. The clean breaks are still Munster. Connacht have got the turnovers 1. And the penalty count 6-2 against Munster. So, yeah, it's been a proper contest in the first half. There's not a lot of scoring in the second half. Like, Ralston goes off with a pretty serious injury, seemingly, for him. Hopefully he's all right. And then from they had to send him off on a stretcher. And from the resulting scrum reset, like Duggan seemed to have a pretty bad neck injury, but thankfully he's able to shake it off and then go with another scrum. Well, horrendous way to, you'd almost just let them tap it and start the game again. I know that they can't do that, but the guy was like literally stretching his neck after that scrum. Horrendous stuff. There's turnovers, there's knock-ons, there's a bit of aimless kicking. There's a penalty against Munster for back chat against the referee. Piardi didn't like that. But finally, on 67 minutes, Munster finally were able to bust through Connacht's defence. As I said, Jack Donahue gets a second very different try from the first because it's literally at a close range, just barge over with support guys behind him. So Munster had like 80% possession and territory in that second half. So it was coming, but boy, did it take some effort. 17 points to 15. That is the final score. Munster did have a chance to get a bonus point try towards the end, but they were turned over by Connacht. And to be fair, after Munster had scored the try, they put themselves under a bunch of pressure by not exiting properly, and Gavin Coombs had to get them out of jail with a turnover of his own. So Connacht's, one of their few chances down Munster's end, was snuffed out kind of before it really got a chance to start. So, yeah, Connacht have a chance to go length of the field, but they go about halfway before knocking the thing on. So Munster hang on for a win. As I said, it wasn't the prettiest, with both sides being rejigged, guys off injured early, guys playing a bit out of position, international players missing. But yeah, both sides will take something from the match. Losing bonus point, 5 from 5 for Munster, but no try bonus point for them. Munster finished with more possession, 63%, more territory, 67%, but as I said, in the second half, it was 80+. Second half was very, very lopsided, but they only scored one try with all that ball. Munster got the run meters 402 to 187, the clean breaks 5-1, turnovers 1, even 5-3. So there's lots of good numbers there. The penalty count's 7 apiece, but the goal kicking 1 from 3 and none from 3. I imagine if you had a goal kicker, either way, it becomes a less close one, or you deny them a bonus point, or you win the game. Goal kicker. Might be nice. Munster's line-out obviously still needs a bit of work. 2 individuals, Gavin Coombs, 56 metres. Nankivell got man of the match and 4 defenders beaten. Sean O'Brien and Paul Boyle, heap of tackles for Connacht, 20 each. So, yeah, not the prettiest game I've ever seen, but as I said, it sets things up nicely going forward in the season. Munster, when we get back under URC action at the end of the month of November, will be home to the Stormers, which should be a cracker because both those sides are flying kind of high, and Connacht will be at home to the Sharks. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We'll be bringing you more URC action, some wrap-ups and power rankings before the season takes a wee break for international rugby. But you guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.